Some warriors fight for glory, others fight for gold, but she fought to prove she was deadlier than any man alive. Her name has echoed through history for millennia. Penthesilea, the warrior queen who brought death beneath the crushing hooves of horses. She knew no fear. She wielded her sword with lethal perfection, and when she rode to the attack, the earth trembled beneath her. For centuries, people believed it was just a legend, a myth concocted by drunken Greeks during their wild feasts. But beneath the steppe, where these queens rode on battle clouds, there was evidence. In 1993, Russian archaeologists uncovered burial mounds in the Voronezh region. At a depth of 4 meters, they discovered something that rewrote history. Burials, women's burials, and they contained not ritual weapons, real combat weapons, the same way warriors were buried.
Penthesilea means Queen of Warriors, and while the Greeks, in their fear, spoke of her as a mortal enemy, ancient artists depicted her quite differently. They painted her as a beauty queen, tall, slender, deadly, and irresistibly attractive. When the great temple of Artemis in Ephesus was opened in 440 BC, 4 of the most famous architects were given one task: to create a sculpture of an Amazon. And do you know what they called it afterward? The Wounded Amazon. Copies of this sculpture, created by Polykleitos, survive to this day, and she was beautiful. They painted her as beautiful because the Amazon was a queen. But Penthesilea wasn't alone. These weren't solitary queens. These were entire squads of female warriors. They were born in the saddle, on horseback. They hunted together, they fought together, and most importantly, they chose this life themselves. Herodotus wrote, they rode with men or even alone to hunt, to war, and also dressed like men. Among the steppes of the Pontic plain, north of the Black Sea, lived the Sarmatians, and there, among them, female warriors were not uncommon. They were the queens of their world, free from houses, from chains, from restrictions, only a horse, only the sky, and only bows in their hands. Herodotus, the father of history, heard a legend during his travels that staggered the imagination. The Amazons captured a Scythian ship. They killed the entire crew, every single one. And then they did something that the ancient Greeks considered a divine sign of war. They were called by the Scythians a word that literally meant killers of men, oiorpata. That's how the Greeks learned about the Amazons, not from legend, from testimony, from horror, from the fact that these women truly were a deadly threat, on equal terms, no, even superior to men in tactics and courage. You think you know the story of the Amazons, blood, battles, and rage, but the terrifying truth is much simpler. They didn't need to kill you to defeat you. They had a weapon far more dangerous than steel. After capturing the ship, the Amazons didn't simply slaughter the remaining men. They did something far more insidious. Calculatedly, 2 or 3 of them began to seduce the Scythian warriors. They understood a dark truth the ancient Greeks stubbornly refused to acknowledge, that a woman could be more deadly than a sword if she used her nature correctly. They weaponized beauty. They exploited seduction. They mastered psychology. And make no mistake, this wasn't weakness. It was a cold strategy, perhaps one of the most effective in the history of warfare. They convinced the surviving warriors to abandon everything, join them, and march north, far away from the Greek world. And the men obeyed, because the Amazons knew how to truly win, not just with the sword, but by conquering the mind. But every legend has an ending.
And the end of the Amazons came with Achilles, the superhero of ancient Greece. When they met on the battlefield, Penthesilea knew it was the end, but she accepted it without fear, like a queen. The Greek epic poem Aethiopis, written after Homer, tells something astounding. After the queen's death, Achilles was so impressed by her strength and beauty that he handed her body over to the Trojans with orders to bury her with the honors due her. He honored her not as an enemy, as a warrior, as a queen. For a long time, scholars thought it was just history, just a myth, just Greek fantasy. But then it began. Russian archaeologists began digging underground in the Pontic steppes, and they found them, real Amazons, buried with their weapons, with damaged oons that indicated battle wounds. Burial mounds rising above the steppe were found across vast territories from the borders of modern-day China to Hungary. 50 burials, 100 burials, maybe more. In the ground lay queens, and they waited, waiting for us to finally remember them.